Hi, and welcome to the We Needed Roads podcast. And hey, you get your damn hands off her. I'm your host, Neil Gregory, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, David Llong. How's it going, David?
It's going all right, Neil. I think you owe me an apology as well.
No, I don't owe you an apology.
Who won the Twitter poll? You were trying to get me to stop with my jokes. And who won that, Neil?
You mobilising a few of your friends to rig an internet poll on Twitter is not worthy of an apology.
No, we only had like 8 votes, so...
I know. So 6 for you, 2 for me.
That is the max amount of friends that I have.
So, coming up in this week's episode, we're going to take a look at the new trailers for Disney Plus's Loki and Zach Snyders' zombie action flick Army of the Dead. In our What We've Been Watching section, we're going to be taking a look at Apple TV Plus with their shows Servant and Calls. I'll also be extolling the virtues of the TV adaptation of Snowpiercer to David. And for our main feature today, we're going to take a spoiler-filled trip to the Hollow Earth for some giant lizard versus monkey action in Godzilla vs. Kong. Now,
Team Kong. Team Kong.
Yeah, everyone's Team Kong. I mean, that's not a spoiler.
I know.
Yeah.
But Team Kong, I just wanted to say.
I'm going to hit you with his magic axe in a minute. Now, as a few of you have pointed out, we do need to put in more spoiler warnings and make it a bit more concrete when we're going to get into spoiler territory, like we should have just done before I said magic axe. But from here on in, we will only discuss spoilers in our main features. And before you do, you'll hear this.
Spoilers? Where we're going, there are nothing but spoilers.
So, first up in news this week, we have Disney Plus's new trailer for Loki, which will be with us June 11th for 6 episodes. So from the trailer, the basic setup looks like that because Tom Hiddleston's Loki messed around with the Tesseract, he essentially has broken time. And now he is in the clutches of the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. They are led by Owen Wilson's bizarrely named character, which I didn't realise till I did some research, and he's called Mobius M. Mobius. And they enlist him, seemingly against his will, to help them fix the time variance issues that he has caused. Sounds very, very similar to DC's Legends of Tomorrow, or a bit of Doctor Who, with perhaps even a smidgen of Quantum Leap thrown in. The show also features Gugu Mbatha Raw as a brilliantly named Ravonna Alexis Renslayer, one of the TVA's judges, and also has his house's Wunmi Masako as Hunter B15, another TVA member. Now, this version of Loki is a time aberration himself, which means he hasn't undergone the redemptive arc from Thor Ragnarok and Avengers Endgame yet, so at this point he's still an out-and-out villain. Remember, this was the Loki from Avengers Assemble who was working for Thanos in acquiring the Infinity Stones. So, what do you think of the trailer so far, David?
Yeah, it looked good. I'm excited for it, because, let's face it, Falcon and the Winter Soldier's just dead. Right? That's completely died on me, so I want a better Marvel TV show again to really go on the coattails of what WandaVision did, which was decent at the end, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier is not good, and now we're on a decent one. So I feel like they're going okay, we're going good, bad, good.
Or as I thought, WandaVision, which was great from the first episode and just got better till the end, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which has been a bit all over the place. When episode 4 was brilliant. And then the new episode 5 that I've just watched this past weekend was really not that great, I didn't think at all.
What Loki has going for it as well is that it's Tom Hiddleston, and the character Loki is like a massive fan favourite.
Well, exactly.
He's like every teenage girl's favourite character.
Well, exactly. What you've got here is you've got a main protagonist who we already care about from the films. So unlike WandaVision, where, Wanda and Vision were kind of ancillary side characters in the Avengers, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier with Bucky and Sam, who were side characters.
Exactly the same problem, yeah.
Here you've got a main character played by the best, the great actor doing it.
I mean, even Owen Wilson looks good in this trailer.
I've always got time for Owen Wilson.
Owen Wilson, I can think of one film that I've liked him in.
No, there's more. There's loads.
I can think of The Royal Tenenbaums, and that's it.
Midnight in Paris.
Yeah, I probably should watch more of his films. But
no, Owen Wilson.
Anyway, I don't normally like Owen Wilson, but
you like the look of him
even in this, he looked good. He looks good. So
I mean, yeah, we've got 6 episodes in season 1, and apparently they're already planning a season 2, so that bodes well. Now, not much is known about the showrunner Michael Waldron, except he has worked extensively with Dan Harmon on Community back in the day and Rick and Morty. So, hey, if you're going to do someone who knows how to deal with time travel, someone who writes on Rick and Morty is probably a good bet. And obviously, he must have done such a good job on Loki that he's now currently working on the Doctor Strange sequel as well. So clearly, this guy knows his time paradoxes. A little bit more of back information about the TVA. been Googling around, and the Time Variance Authority is the creation of a character called He Who Remains, who at the end of time is the final director of the TVA. However, shenanigans occur in the comic books, a lot of shenanigans, and it was way too much to explain. But essentially, it leads to a creation of villains called the Time Twisters, and I think they could be our villains for this show coming up. I mean, I love one of my favourite bits early on in the trailer is the scene where he drops into the office and he says, "Please confirm this is everything you've ever said. Please sign this." Great, man. If it's got that kind of tone to it, if it's got that tone the whole way through, then I'm going to be. I mean, I'm there for it already, man. But yeah, it looks really good.
That was a good reenactment there of the trailer.
We also know Richard E. Grant is going to be in the show, and looking at the likeness between him and Tom Hiddleston, I'm wondering whether he's actually going to play Loki's real father or a version of old Loki himself. Also, there's news that Sophia DiMartino is heavily rumoured to be playing a female version of Loki called Lady Loki, and apparently that character is actually the current main comic book iteration of the Loki character. So they've gender swapped him. So I wonder whether that's something that we might see permanently going forward with this character after the show. So they're definitely going to explore. I wonder if that's where the show's going to get into Quantum Leap territory, where Loki's jumping into different timelines, but he's in different bodies, maybe.
Right. Okay. They could do a lot with that.
I mean,
they could go.
Definitely...
Yeah. I mean, they've got so much scope to go with. They've written themselves so well that they could just do anything at this point.
Even though
it's almost like because it's a completely different universe, it's complete undetached to the timeline that we're on, they can just do whatever, and there's basically no consequences. Unless they tie it back.
Like you
somehow.
say, this Loki isn't the original Loki from the last couple of films. The one that gets killed.
Because Loki's dead. Well, dead, like so far as we know.
No, he's totally dead. This will be what will happen, I'm assuming, if Hiddleston wants to keep going with it, and Marvel do, that this Loki will undergo a similar kind of thing where he'll then be the good guy Loki at the end of the show, for the next series, and then that way you can bring him back into the main continuity. Bring him back
into our continuity, because it's getting complicated. It's going to get so complicated with how many different timelines and faceted, like how stuff isn't related to other things, and how this stuff can happen and other stuff not happen. When you've opened that time travel box, like it's open now. Like
I think
out.
Having said that, it's I do think that it's very reminiscent storyline wise of. Like I said earlier in the thing, it's very similar to Quantum Leap. It's very similar to DC's Legends of Tomorrow, which ironically was like a pretty shoddy Doctor Who ripoff when it started. And then when they realised, okay, the more goofy with it we go, the funnier and better it got. And that literally had the same plot line, that they broke time and they had to travel around in a spaceship, going to different periods throughout history and fixing what they fucked up. Now, this sounds like a very similar show. Obviously, though, with Marvel's budget and writing behind it. But, just a little shout out to Legends of Tomorrow, which is still a really good show when it's on.
Yeah, it's quite exciting that the guy that was doing Rick and Morty is on it as well. So at least you know that it's going to be all the time travel stuff and the nuances of it. At least it's going to be done.
And if it's got that pace of Rick and Morty as well,
level, at least, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I'm kind of really looking forward to that. So Loki will be leading us all into mischief and trickery from June 11th on Disney+. So now, after our heated debate about the Snyder Cut on the last episode, I've copped a little bit of shit from some Snyder bros, because apparently you can't have a dissenting opinion on the internet, which, if you were listening, I do not hate Snyder. His Dawn of the Dead, although written by James Gunn, was great. Watchmen is one of the best superhero films of its time.
Wait. Sorry. Even though, so you were trying to apologise, and then you still had that
I'm
little
not apologising.
You still had a little dig there.
No, I'm not apologising.
Yeah, but okay, whatever you were doing.
No, it's just this weird black and white thing where you either think he's like.
I liked Dawn of the Dead, although it was written by James Gunn. A little dig.
Because I think Snyder is
some shade, Neil. He's just throwing some shade.
Because Snyder is a brilliant visual director, but script writing and script writing isn't one of his fortes. Watchmen was brilliant because it was based on one of the best graphic novels of all time.
A lot of people hated Watchmen, though. I think we're the ones because we both liked it.
No, I am. I know quite a few people who think Watchmen of its time in the early 2000s was like one of the best, because it finally gave that adult take on a superhero story. It was dark. It was. It's almost a forerunner of stuff you get these days.
I still think we're the odd ones out in thinking liking Watchmen.
But getting back to my point on that was Watchmen Dawn of the Dead, written by James Gunn. Watchmen, written by Alan Moore. 300, but don't know who wrote it. I might have been Snyder himself, but the first film Snyder did that was 100% his from start to finish, where he wrote it, directed it, was Sucker Punch, which was just an unbelievable pile of crap. And also, I wasn't a fan of his dark, gloomy, serious version of the DCU. Fortunately, though, this week, the trailer to his new film, Army of the Dead, that's a Snyder I want to see. This looked brilliant.
Yeah, it looks so good.
Right, so a little bit on the trailer. So it stars Dave Bautista in the lead role as Scott Ward, a former zombie war hero now flipping burgers. The film takes place in a world that is post-zombie war, but with the entirety of Las Vegas walled off as a zombie infection zone. Ward is approached by a casino boss, Bly Tanaka, played by Hiroyuki Sanada, to break into the quarantine zone and recover $200 million from an underground bunker before the army nukes the city from the air within 32 hours. So what we have is the first, to my knowledge, zombie casino heist film.
Yeah.
The trailer even begins with Kenny Rogers' classic song, The Gambler. And now where I give Snyder shit for his slow-mo song montages, in a film like Justice League, it doesn't work because it's so dark and serious. In a film like this, where it's bright, gaudy, it's Vegas, and it's entertaining, it worked perfectly. The song, The Gambler, by Kenny Rogers, that's played throughout the trailer, is perfect, man. When you've got all the slow motion shots of guns being fired, of course, man, it works perfectly. I mean, I like where you see the lights flick on in the casino and just see the piles of body pads in the middle of the floor.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
There's so many little cool moments in that trailer.
Oh yeah, you get Batista studying blueprints, Star Wars style. You get the standard team recruitment montage. I was like, okay, this feels like a Fast and the Furious film.
It did. It feels like Fast and the Furious zombie heist. And then, of course, for me, the best moment, one of the best moments of the trailer is that massive reveal shot of the teeming mass of zombies. And then we also quickly learn right after that our heroes are fucked. Why are they fucked? Because they are not what you think they are. They are smarter, they are faster, they are organised. So what it seems we're getting clever and fast zombie combo that clearly most of the characters in the film were not expecting. Yeah, he's taking the zombie drama and just cranking it up to 11. He's revitalising it.
Well, he had some fast zombies in Dawn of the Dead, didn't he?
Yeah. So there were fast zombies in Dawn of the Dead, which, I think Zack Snyder, he's going to revitalise the zombie drama. I mean, I hope so anyway, because the zombie
lumbering
drama,
corpse of the zombie drama.
Yeah. Because, let's face it, The Walking Dead is just it's dried up, right? It's a dried well right now. It started off.
It has become its name.
Yeah. And Dawn of the Dead, which was my first ever zombie film, the Snyder's Dawn of the Dead.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, like in 2004. So I'd have been how old would I have been? 12? Yeah, probably a bit too young to watch that film. But
yeah, just a little.
But that was my first zombie film that I watched, and it fucking freaked me out that the zombies they ran at you.
So you hadn't heard of 28 Days Later before
sort of
that?
Zombie. Yeah, so no, I hadn't. Every zombie I watched film after that, have been all the sort of slow paced like Romero zombies, where they're just like. And
except 28 Days Later, which did fast zombies first.
Zombies. Yeah, and then I watched 28 Days Later. And then
no, right, okay. So here's a question for you: did you prefer 28 Days Later or Dawn of the Dead?
Dawn of the Dead's got a bit of nostalgia for me because, like I said, it was the first one I'd watched.
Yeah, okay.
And I did really like Dawn of the Dead. Although, if you was to put the two films against each other, 28 Days Later is probably the better film.
I think the problem with 28 Days Later is it's got an amazing start, a really good middle, and a crap end. Whereas I think Dawn of the Dead is pretty great the whole way through.
Yeah.
But I think it would be sacrilege to say though that. But I think the start of 28 Days Later is a million times better than the start of Dawn of the Dead.
I've got a question for you. Did you prefer Romero's Dawn of the Dead or Snyder's Dawn of the Dead?
Ooh, I'm going to be controversial. I'm going to be controversial and say Snyder's.
Yeah, they're both really good. I'd say Snyder's as well, just because, like I mentioned before, that it's nostalgic to me. But Romero's would be for everyone else. Night of the Living Dead's fucking amazing.
Yeah,
and then Dawn of the Dead was just as good.
But I wonder if the initial setup of this film is actually going to share any DNA with the book version of World War Z, right? So the film version of World War Z, despite being a big hit, is absolutely gash compared to the book. The book is brilliant, but the book of World War Z is set after the zombie war happened, and the the setup of the book is every chapter is a journalist traveling around the world, getting everyone's stories of how they survived the zombie war. And in this film, this is the first time I think we're seeing it where the film's set after a zombie war. Hopefully, perhaps the success of this film coming up might actually drive on so that we actually get a proper adaptation of World War Z then. Because that's just sitting there waiting to be done properly. Because, like I say, the book, the current film of World War Z with Brad Pitt bears no resemblance really at all to the brilliant book.
Right. I mean, I haven't read the book.
Read the book, dude.
I've seen the Brad Pitt film, obviously, but I haven't read the book. Do you think that the Dawn of the Dead film from the Snyderverse is going to be related to... From the Snyderverse? Have I just created a Snyder zombieverse?
Zombieverse.
Do you reckon Dawn of the Dead will be related to Army of the Dead in any way?
Potentially could do. The only problem is, if you go by the end credits of Dawn of the Dead, everyone died in it. And also, the world was overrun. Everywhere. Exactly. So they even mentioned it was localized, and also we didn't really know that. I don't really know if we really knew the time it was set in.
Yeah.
And same with this. So.
And these zombies do seem like intelligent zombies.
Yeah, exactly. So that's another big difference from Dawn of the Dead. I think you could probably. There's one thing I think you have to have one thing that maybe links the two films, and that is, as it's set in Vegas, we sure as hell better get another Richard Cheese track. Because his version of Down with the Sickness is with a montage in the middle of Dawn of the Dead was one of the great bits. And being a Vegas lounge musician legend, Richard Cheese, he's got to either have a cameo in the film or they've got to use some of his music. And I think that'd be like the little Easter egg that ties the two films together.
Right.
You can't have a Vegas film and not have Richard Cheese in it and have a zombie film in it when he was already in a zombie film and it wasn't in Vegas. Yeah. So yeah, more Richard Cheese.
Okay, yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, I think that would be the little ties between the two. I mean,
yeah.
We do see a little bit in the trailer that's clearly from the end of the film as well, when you see the jets shooting over the strip and just bombing the fuck out of everything. So that looks really cool as well. But, I mean, the one thing everyone is talking about from the trailer, and that, of course, we can't forget, that's a goddamn zombie tiger.
Zombie tiger. Yeah, the zombie tiger. The zombie tiger was actually the one thing I disliked about the trailer.
Just because it didn't look great? Or
yeah. Not because it didn't look great, because I kind of don't want to see a zombie tiger.
Right. Here's my point.
I don't know.
I had to think about this, right? How is a zombie tiger any different or more effective than a real tiger, right? It's a cool image in the trailer, but as everyone was losing their shit about the zombie tiger, well, zombie or not, a tiger will still kill and eat you. And if it's a zombie, it might just be a bit more slower.
Aggressive, perhaps?
Well, no, it'd be slower, wouldn't it? Because it'd be like...
Well, no, these didn't seem...
Oh, no, these ones are more aggressive, yeah.
But maybe just more aggressive, like if it sees you, like, yeah, you're fucked.
But either way, if you see a tiger, it's going to kill and eat you.
And if you shoot a tiger, it will stop. Whereas if you shoot a zombie tiger, it's just going to keep coming.
Well, unless you shoot it in the head, because that's how you stop every zombie.
Yeah. Well, maybe they're going to break that rule.
Decapitate it with a samurai sword.
What if they break that rule in this one? You can't shoot a zombie in the head. It's going to keep coming, mate.
Zombie tiger raises an interesting issue. Does this mean other animals are going to be zombified within this one? There's a great book by a zombie writer called Brian Keane called The Rising, and in that book, every living thing can become a zombie. So, I mean, you have zombie birds, they're particular motherfuckers in that book, and there's a scene at a zoo with zombie animals in it as well.
Right.
Actually, I'm just going to go on a slight tangent and say, go out and get this book called The Rising, because it's one of the best zombie books I've ever read, and it isn't... still hasn't been made into a film or a TV show yet. Quick setup is there's a particle accelerator accident that creates an interdimensional rift that allows demons from another realm to cross over to our dimension and reanimate the dead. Now that's a new twist that I've not seen in a movie or TV show before. So it's been out for years. Go make it Hollywood, please. Netflix, Amazon. Won't be on Disney's. Way
Maybe
too gory.
pitch it to Netflix. They'll make anything. With the tiger, what if we get a dead David Copperfield? And we've got like a zombie David Copperfield, and it's like, because this tiger's got to belong to someone, right? And I can only think.
What if we had a flashback where we saw zombie tiger kill regular David Copperfield?
Oh yes, he got pissed off with the act.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that'd be a nice way to work it in. I should also mention Snyder has been fairly vocal in his recent interviews with Netflix about how this film is 100% his vision, and he did recently say, "This was the most gratifying experience making this movie. This is the movie. There were no other cuts of the movie. I didn't have to fight them, it was the opposite. This is the director's cut, and you're going to see it first. You don't have to see the bastardized version, there's just the awesome version."
It's kind of like, fucking finally, I'm able to do what I want to do.
So, I mean, for everyone crying, "Oh, please restore the Snyderverse," do you honestly think it sounds like he even wants to work with Warner Brothers again? Because he clearly doesn't from that interview. You know, I'm pretty just
pissed with him.
let Snyder go and do what he wants. But I think he works better when he's can do what he wants. Clearly, judging by this trailer, and I think Netflix do have a reputation for just letting people do what they want.
Although you did say that earlier that he's what's that one that he did that was shit?
Sucker Punch. Which,
Sucker Punch.
But he's made his Sucker Punch.
That was pants.
Yeah, it was pants, but you know, it doesn't mean every film he writes and directs is going to be pants.
No.
And I mean, again, though, you know, these type of films, trailers always make them look good, but you know, I think you know what you're getting with this one. It's going to be a solid B zombie movie.
I want him to revitalise the zombie movies because everyone loves a zombie film. I mean, they do go in waves. Like they'll come and go. They'll come and go. This might be them coming back.
Like the dead themselves. All right, so do you know what? I think for me, David, what makes this trailer and hopefully film awesome is it just looks fun. It's Vegas, so it needs to be brightly lit on neon. Of course, the plot is going to be ridiculous, but it's that type of team-up heist film with all your stock characters, which we've already seen. I like in the trailer, you just get shots of the characters and the odd one-liner. You don't get any character development from them because we don't care about that. We want expendable people with a funny line here or there getting killed horribly by zombies and killing zombies horribly.
Yeah, because they've all obviously got some reason for being there, some skill set that they're there. Like there's the Dave Bautista
guy who's
obviously
German.
like...
I mean, that's basically it. That's all we know. There's a guy with German and there's a guy who's got a blade on a stick.
Yeah.
But I think this film looks like it's going to do exactly what it says on the tin.
Yes, I agree. I hope it's really good. When's it out?
It is out next month on Netflix. I do not know the exact date, but yeah, in May.
Next month, okay. May.
Yeah.
Awesome.
What to watch?
So first up, I have finally got back into Snowpiercer Season 2 on Netflix. Or as I like to call it, Thomas Jefferson and the Train of Lies.
Thomas Jefferson. I like it because you've watched Hamilton now.
Yeah, little Hamilton reference there for you, David. The reason is Snowpiercer's lead actor, David Diggs, played Jefferson in Hamilton. Where here he
and
plays,
Lafayette. Sorry, go on.
And here he plays Andre Layton. Now, the show is based on the 80s French graphic novel, and forgive my pronunciation, The Transpenciege, which was adapted by Bong Joon-ho in his 2013 film of the same name. Mm-hmm. That film was a post-apocalyptic eco-thriller where in the near future the world had become a frozen wasteland and the only survivors are left aboard Snowpiercer, a train that perpetually moves without stopping. And the film's prologue...
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead. No, jump in.
No, I was going to say, have you seen all the fan theories about that Snowpiercer, the film, being related to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory?
No, but we'll talk about that in a second.
You need to see those theories. Okay, go on.
Is it the W for Wilford and Wonka? Because it looks a bit funny.
Yeah, so everything about him, like the entire film is essentially Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, but like a messed up version. And
you've seen Snowpiercer, right?
Who's the Who's the guy again?
Chris Evans?
No, not Chris Evans. The guy who runs the train.
Ed Harris in the original film.
Yeah, but no, but the character.
Mr. Wilford.
Well, yeah. That is Charlie. He's Charlie. You need to check it out on YouTube. Check it out.
Okay, yeah.
I'm going to shout those.
Send me the link. and I'll go down a rabbit hole on that one.
And also, you could tweet it out as well.
In the film's prologue, the train is overrun by people fleeing certain death, and a number of them make it on board where they're locked in the tail of the train and are referred to as tailors, and they are led by Captain America himself, Chris Evans. The film charts the fight of the refugees in a tail as they fight their way to the front of the train through all the different class systems on board till they face off with the train's chief, Wilford. Now, how do you spin a 2-hour film like that into an ongoing series over 20 plus hours? Well, the show has the same basic setup but moves at a much slower pace, giving much more time to character beats and development. Our two leads are Jennifer Connelly's Melanie Cavill, who is the head of hospitality and the voice of the train, and she is also Mr. Wilford's representative on the train and relays his orders to the rest of the people on board. Then we have David Diggs as Andre Layton, a former detective who has spent all his time in the tail section, who is always planning and leading insurrections against the class system on the train and the systematic abuse of the survivors in the tail that they face on a regular basis. But the jumping off point for the show is a whodunit, really, as he's the only detective on board. Layton is recruited to help solve a murder in the first class section.
It's crazy how he's the only detective on board that train.
Like, you think you'd bring one along, right?
Yeah, I
suppose you thought there'd be no murder, right? But from this starting point, we learn more and more about the way the train works and the various different social systems on board. A special shout-out to go to Alison Wright as Ruth Wardle, She's the deputy in the hospitality department, and it's brilliant because she seems to be the only English person in the cast with a like really strong English accent, while everyone else is American or doing like English pronounced accent. But her role is very similar to Tilda Swinton's from the film. And also, I've got to give a shout out to Mickey Sumner, who I didn't know is Sting's the musician's daughter, not the wrestler. And she plays one of the brakemen who are like the thugs and heavies on board. And she kind of has to decide what side of the thing is going on. Basically, she's part of the train security force. Now, there are many, many more people in this expansive cast. And also, it's not really a spoiler if you're looking into the show now, but Sean Bean joins the cast as a villain in season 2. Now, both Connolly and Diggs give great performances in this show, and you can clearly see why the roles appeal to them. Now, I wasn't blown away massively by the first season, but I've just dived back into season 2, and I've pretty much binged the whole thing every day until I've just got through it. And while it's a definite slow burn, season 2 is a definite improvement, and with even more additions to the cast. And like I say, though, at the start of the info on the show, I did say it is essentially Thomas Jefferson and the Train of Lies, as every character lies to every other character, to the point that watching sometimes you forget who is on whose side. The good guys lie to the bad guys lie to the good guys, obviously, then the good guys lie to other good guys, and the bad guys lie to other bad guys. And then they'll lie to each other, and it's just, But it gets so good as it moves on. And like I don't know, it just kind of sucks you in.
Pay attention to the deceptive web of lies that's going on.
Yes. Having said that, I did really enjoy it, and there's a really great season 2 cliffhanger ending, and season 3 has been confirmed. So yeah, all aboard for Snowpiercer again. Hopefully this time next year.
What if you didn't watch it every day and binge it? Would you get confused if you was one of those viewers that watched it one day and then maybe watched a couple other things in between and then went back to it another day?
Well, I think what they do better in season 2 is there's always like a little intro, a voiceover intro, and it always says blah 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 in 10,039 cars on Snowpiercer. There's a little intro at the start of every episode where it says, and here we are, 10,039 cars long, and so they kind of. It almost shifts the point of view of the intro and the outro of the show from each character. So I just think season 2 is a lot stronger and more confident in its storytelling.
Right.
And,
I was going to say, because that doesn't answer my question about it being, would it be confusing if you were to come back to it after like 2 or 3 days?
No, because, well, I come back to it after 5 or 6 months. No, because all these shows have previously on. So, you know.
Yeah, like I said on the WandaVision, I hate that, but go on.
Well, but if you're one of these people who's forgotten what happened, then that will remind you what plot points are important.
I understand the point of them.
So, well, basically, are you going to give Snowpiercer a watch sometime?
No, I actually already watched the first 5 episodes of season 1, and I didn't really like it, so I stopped.
Fair enough.
Yeah, it was like you said, it was quite confusing with like the web of every. And I didn't. To be honest, I kind of forgot who was the person that got killed and why they were important and why they wanted to. And then I was like,
no spoilers.
Well, yeah, and then I was just like, okay, we just stopped caring and went on to watch other things.
So what you're saying is Thomas Jefferson couldn't keep you watching
Thomas Jefferson didn't do it for me, although he was one of the only reasons why I went in to watch it in the first place.
I thought that was going to be the reason, yeah.
Which is quite a stupid reason to watch the show.
Right,
but
okay, so I'm going to keep watching it, you're not going to keep watching it, but now you're going to try and convince me to watch another show, which is...
a show on Apple TV. It's called Calls, which dropped not that long ago, only about a month or 2 ago. It is... Okay, Neil, I'm going to pitch it to you, okay?
Okay, sell
Neil,
it to me.
Okay, do you like film... No, do you like shows like...
Yes, we're doing a film podcast.
But do you like shows like Black Mirror and The Twilight Zone?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And do you like phone calls?
Not especially, because who does phone calls really these days?
Do you like good voice acting?
Well...
Good acting in general. You know what? Voice acting is good acting in general.
That's a weird way of putting it. Yeah, I like acting. Of course I like good acting. I do a film podcast.
And a strong cast of characters.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Neil, you will like Calls.
Will I?
Okay, yeah, so it's a completely audio-based TV show, which is on Apple
radio
TV+.
show.
So
It's a podcast.
You know what? It is a bit odd that it is completely audio-based, but if it wasn't audio-based, I mean, if it was...
actually filmed as a show with images?
You'd think it would work better as a podcast like this or as a radio show or whatever. But you do need to read what's going on and see it.
Well, what's on the screen?
So on the screen, you've got all these like wibbly wobbly lines, which are a bit confusing in the first episode because they're a bit distracting.
Wibbly wobbly lines.
Wait, that's the best way I can describe it. It's like technology lines.
Is it like when you leave a screensaver on your computer?
No, it's like you see all the phone, imagine
waveforms.
like what a phone, waveforms. But
so it's essentially like watching me record this podcast right now.
Yeah. So you'll see like a bunch of waveforms, but then you'll also see a bunch of other shit lines in the background, which are all pretending to be waveforms. And like it'll be like a square or a circle or whatever. Anyway,
so like an Xbox controller.
And then you'll also get the subtitles of what they're saying. And without that, because you do need it, because it's difficult to hear what they're saying, because sometimes the sound.
Wait.
Is
so
distorted.
they've produced an audio only thing, and they don't
where
have
you
good sound on
can't
it.
hear what they're saying exactly.
You're really selling it to me here. I'll tell you that. Now.
Sometimes
sounds amazing.
It's all distorted but it's so good. Some of the stories, so it's a different story every episode, and they're all linked behind a time travel theme to it.
Did not know that. Okay.
Or a time distorted theme. So there's one episode where a guy just leaves his house and he's going to drive away, and he phones one person, and he's like, "Oh, dude, you've been gone for 3 days. Where you at?" And he's like, "What are you chatting about? I've just gone on a drive." And then he phones another, and someone else phones him, and he's like, "It's been a week, and then a month, and then a year," and then he's talking to his kid who wasn't even born at the time, and stuff like that. And it's really good. One of the episodes, full on, I was so close to crying at the end of it because it got so emotional. The airplane episode. I mean, I'm not a fan of flying anyway, but this episode, it properly got me.
And how long are the episodes?
So this is another thing that's really appealing about it. So the episodes are only between 10 to 20 minutes. I think the longest episode's 20 minutes. I think the shortest episode's roughly around 10, just a bit over maybe. So it's the perfect sort of show. So if you've got like,
perfect kind of show for people with your attention span.
No, so and let's say you've got the washing machine on, and you're like, oh man, that washing machine, it's got like 15 minutes left, and you're like, it's that annoying time because you can't start another TV show.
You're going to sell me on this show. If you're doing the washing, you bung this on in the background.
Yeah, because you're going to have to stop what you're watching to go and do the washing, and then come back to it. But this is perfect because you've got that 15 minutes. Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to watch an episode of Calls. That's that. So it's that perfect sort of length for that reason. There's only, I think, 8 episodes. I should know that. 9 episodes. There's 9 episodes of it, and they're all very short. You could binge them probably in a day or two, and it's so good. So some of the actors in it as well. I mean,
but it's not the actors in it. It's just like you said. It's just voice acting.
It is their voice acting. There's such a serious, strong cast.
All right, tell me who's in it, and then I'm going to give you my thoughts on why
Aaron Taylor-Johnson, Nick Jonas, Karen Gillan, Pedro Pascal, to name a few. The episodes are all except maybe the last one. It doesn't land very well, which isn't great. But they're all very enticing. They do wrap you up so quickly in what's happening.
Right, here's my thing.
And you know what? Another thing that's really good about it is it uses your imagination. So you create the story in your mind with their voice acting and this phone call.
And the wibbly lines.
And the wibbly wobbly lines. The wibbly wobbly lines, man. I hated them at the beginning, but without them, it wouldn't be the same.
Right, I'm not quite sure how good your pitch really was there, David, because he's like, do it while you're doing the laundry.
I think there's people out there that will understand the washing machine thing where it's got 15 minutes left and you don't want to do, you don't want to start another episode, but you don't know what to do with that 15 minutes.
That's where you...
there will be other people out there.
Right, so here's my... I haven't obviously seen any of it yet, but I did hear it reviewed on another podcast, which is one of my regular ones to listen to, and it was an editor of a certain major magazine who'd reviewed it.
It was Pilot TV, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
you could just say Pilot. It was Pilot TV. All right, go on.
But the editor of Empire magazine on that basically absolutely shat on it, but was like, it sounds like a stupid idea that someone thought up in a pitch meeting. Oh, let's do a TV show, but with no TV. Then it's fucking radio. It is literally just a podcast or radio, and making people watch lines to decipher shit. That's not. I don't know. That doesn't sound appealing in any way to me. And just listening
really
to phone calls.
You honestly, you have to watch it to enjoy it properly.
Clearly I need to watch it.
Yeah, that was a stupid thing to say.
I mean, if I enjoyed it without watching it,
watch the first episode now. Watch two because
Okay,
it's literally
right.
30 minutes out of your day.
well,
to watch
here's what we
episodes.
said, isn't it? I am. Yeah. Okay.
Some
I will
episodes
watch-
are stronger than others. Like I said, it doesn't land very well. How it ties it all together in the
Is
last
that a joke
episode,
about the plane episode?
No. The last episode is probably the weakest episode because how it ties them all together is a bit shit, and the acting in that episode is probably not.
So
as good.
the explanation of what the whole thing is pants.
It's not pants. It's just not as good as what you'd expect coming from what you've already experienced in the last 8 episodes. Because the previous 8 episodes were so well done from a story, and
David.
how they managed to really
David.
get you engaged in a 10-minute phone call that
David.
2 or 3 people are having.
I
It's so
think.
good. I mean, all these people are well popular as well. I never get phone calls this often, like in 10-minute spans. But
No
anyway.
one calls anymore. Let's face it. Everyone texts now, man, or like WhatsApps or instant messages.
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, there
you
are
know.
texts that happen in it as well. People
Yeah.
are texting, so they'll be like, "Oh, I
Right.
just got a message from this person." Oh,
I think you talking about calls has actually gone on longer than an episode of calls now, David.
Yeah, it probably has. So in the time that you've been listening to me, you could have been watching calls, and probably enjoying that a lot more because it's really good.
Well, I think it is time to hang up on calls and move on to our next show.
Did you just go to your own joke?
I did. Yes, I did.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Just wanted to check.
No, totally. So our final show in our What We've Been Watching section is one that is spectacularly hard to talk about in non-spoiler terms because there are spectacularly stupid spoilers in the very first episode.
Yeah.
But try as we will, we are going to try and sell you and pitch you on this show without actually giving anything away.
Yep.
So that show is Servant on Apple TV Plus from M. Night Shyamalan. However, it's not really from him, as it was created and mostly written by a guy called Tony Bascallop, who's a TV writer with a few credits in the UK. When he went to the States, he worked on 24 Legacy, which was a pretty pants 24 reboot they tried doing. But he did also write some of the vastly underrated Outcast, which was done by Robert Kirkman of Walking Dead fame. So, with not exactly a large profile, I can kind of see why Apple are trying to promote and sell the show off M. Night Shyamalan's name rather than this guy's. Having said that, there were many comments online, and I think Apple kind of got this wrong in the promotion of the show, where they said, where loads of people were like, oh, Shyamalan, he's been crap, I'm not watching it if it's him. And so, if, I mean,
Wait,
I thought the same thing. I was like, M. Night Shyamalan. How has he been crap? Have you seen The Lady in the Water? Have you seen The Village?
The Village.
Have you seen?
The Village wasn't crap.
It was terrible.
Nah,
Terrible.
Nah,
Utter tripe.
Nah, it wasn't.
Look, we're not going to get into an M. Night Shyamalan ding dong. So,
And
anyway,
Lady
what
in
is
the Water
Servant?
was like over 15
Pants.
years ago, right? Yeah, 15 years ago.
What's he done since? What big films has he done since?
Glass. Split.
So he's gone back to his most successful films.
Glass and,
from
Glass
the early
and
thing.
Split came out, 2019?
Yeah, and they're all connected to Unbreakable.
Yeah, but he still did them.
Anyway,
Yeah, okay,
what is? We're not getting into a Shyamalan ding dong. But what is Servant? Well, it's a slow burn psychological horror show that follows the story of Dorothy and Sean Turner, a couple who hire a young nanny called Leanne for their baby Jericho. And once Leanne arrives, many strange occurrences begin happening in the house and to the couple. Now, this is a show of twists and shocks with multiple big reveals, even in the very first episode that we won't spoil here. The cast is led by Lauren Ambrose as Dorothy Turner, the slightly neurotic mother of Jericho, who is a local TV news reporter. And throughout both seasons, Ambrose is just awesome, as probably given the best performances of her career, as a woman on the edge who just keeps spiraling as events get stranger and stranger
I wouldn't
and stranger.
say she's neurotic.
Oh, dude, some of the stuff she does before shit goes down, she's she's just got that
okay, fair enough.
She's got a very aggressive manner, even when she's being
a woman on the edge.
quiet and
A
polite.
woman on the edge makes
yeah.
sense to me more than neurotic.
You and your words, man.
Okay, sorry,
Okay,
go
so
on.
look, I'm sticking to
No,
neurotic
okay.
because she's being passive aggressive and very passive aggressive. And then of course you've got the very underrated Toby Kebbell, who plays her husband Sean, and he's a renowned chef who's recently made a name for himself on a cooking reality show. And it's great to see Kebbell in a good role again, especially since he made his, I think it was his debut years and years back in Dead Man's Shoes with Paddy Considine. And he's actually publicly claimed the reaction to his appearance in Josh Trank's terrible Fantastic Four film to be adversely affecting his career. I think he said he used to get 20 scripts a month, 20 scripts a week, and then after that film he was lucky to get 4 scripts a month.
Yeah.
And it's ironic seeing that he was almost absent for all the film's reshoots as well. You got Rupert Grint as well, who are playing Julian Pierce, uncle to Jericho and Dorothy's brother, Sean's brother-in-law. And I think Grint absolutely crushes the spectre of Ron Weasley in here. He's got a flawless American accent, and as Uncle Julian, Grint's just always on some kind of drink or drugs throughout most episodes. And when you get to season 9, when you get to season 2, episode 9, his performance in that episode, it's just like a ticking time bomb, and he should definitely be awards nominated for it.
I love how if you've gone from watching, like, let's say you've just binged all the Harry Potter for whatever reason, and then you've decided to watch Servant, you're like, fucking hell, Ron Weasley's changed.
But this is good though, because in this role, he completely frees himself from it. You don't think, oh yeah, that's Ron Weasley. You're like, oh, this guy's an absolute crazy shithead.
Yeah, he's.
But he's funny as well.
He's like
he's really
an
funny.
Alcoholic. Anyway, he's a sex addict, or what? Is he a sex? What did you say? He's a sex addict?
Definitely addicted to a shitload of things.
He's an addictive personality and whatever. He ain't no Ron Weasley. Let's just say that.
He's definitely not. But rounding out the cast is young British actress Nell Tiger-Free as Leanne Grayson, Turner's new nanny. And she's probably best known for previously playing the second Marcella Baratheon in season 5 and 6 of Game of Thrones. Tiger-Free plays the quite mysterious young babysitter who we can't really say much about other than that her presence in the household and her relationships with the other 3 main characters is a catalyst for the show's main plot lines. Now, critical reception to season 1 was generally very positive. It was a bit more mixed for season 2, but I mean, I thought both seasons were really good. It's definitely a slow drip feel on the show, and you're waiting to find out what happens, and then they show you what happens, but then you've got more questions, and that's how you keep going. And it usually leads to yet another head-scratching mystery. But it's essentially a chamber piece a lot of the time. It's these 4 characters interacting, and usually in the same location at Turner's house. But it's just so. Do you think it's got a bit of like an Ari Aster vibe to it?
Yeah, I can see how you get that by the slow burn and some of the shots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's the cinematography is beautiful.
Just a general conversation between 2 characters over dinner will make you feel quite uncomfortable watching it, just because of how it's shot. Like it's everything's that little bit too close. Everything's that little bit too.
In season 2, episode 9, Grint's really great performance. It's the most awkward Christmas dinner scene you will ever see in your life. you want to shove your fist down your mouth to just. Because it's so cringy.
Yeah, it's got a lot of that sort of stuff in it where you just sort of feel uncomfortable watching it.
What I like, I just like the slow burn of it. I just like, okay, we found out. You find what it does well is it gives you answers to questions you've been asking for a while, and then just as you're like, oh great, I know that, then it will spin the show off in another direction. You're like, well, no, I want to know what happens there, and it doesn't do it in a cheap way. It does it in a but they clearly knew they were going here this way. In fact, Shyamalan himself has recently confirmed that he'd originally planned it for 6 seasons, but I think because of COVID, he's kind of had a rethink in the last year, and he's confirmed there's going to be 2 more seasons of the show, and they'll wrap up the story at the end of season 4. So season 2 recently concluded on Apple TV about a month or so ago. So we're probably looking around the same time next year for season 3. And any last thoughts on Servant, David?
Some of the food scenes in it
stomach churn.
Are disgusting to watch. Did you remember the eel in like one of the first seasons? Yeah, man, that when I watched that, I was like, fucking hell. I had to Google like if that was even. I thought it looked quite real, and I had to Google if they could even if it was an actual eel that they did this to. Because I was just like, that was kind of.
I didn't Google it.
Oh my god, okay.
I'm guessing it wasn't a real eel.
No. Thankfully, someone on Reddit took a picture of the end credits to say that there was like some animal rights people and no animals were hurt or whatever. But yeah, I was just like, okay, wow.
And I think that's what the show.
Either. That's something very small.
And I think that's what the show does. With him being a chef, you're always waiting for these moments of high horror, and it'll completely pull the rug out from you by having some extreme gore, but not really gore, but like the way some of the food's prepared in like super close-ups, kind of like, was it Dexter's opening sequence used to have a few bits like that in it, and
I've not Dexter's. It might have been Dexter. You're thinking of Hannibal.
I don't know about the opening sequence, but Hannibal did a very similar thing with food. Yeah, they're kind of cutting through meats and just making it look
just
really
making
horrific.
You feel, definitely.
So,
bit of that,
I'm very, very much looking forward to the next series of that.
Yeah.
How many? You're about halfway through season 2 now. You said, right?
Yeah, I'm getting through season 2 at the moment. I haven't finished it yet, but we're having to keep stopping and taking breaks because of certain things. But anyway, we'll finish it. It's a good show, and the episodes are only 30 minutes long, so it's really easy to binge watch. I told somebody at work about it, and I was like, "Oh, I've started watching this. It's really good. You should check it out." I showed her a trailer of it, and she'd finished it in like the weekend.
Yeah, well, only half. You could watch. Yeah, you could easily watch the whole first season in one weekend.
I was like, Pam, calm it down.
Right, so I think that wraps up our what we've been watching section, and now it's on to our main feature.
Main feature.
Right, so today's main feature is Godzilla vs. Kong, which will feature plot spoilers. I mean, however, taking into account it's Godzilla vs. Kong, and the trailer literally gave away the one surprise anyway, I don't think we have too much to worry about, but here is your spoiler warning.
Spoilers? Where we're going, there are nothing but spoilers.
Spoiler warning! If we don't have... You're going to totally put that in if we don't have it, aren't you?
Yes.
Right, so, background.
I'm going to leave that in anyway, even if we have it.
Brilliant. So, background. This is the 36th film in the Godzilla franchise, the 12th in the King Kong franchise, and the 4th in the new Monsterverse franchise. Combined, all 4 films in the new franchise have made $1.7 billion. So that's a hefty chunk of change. First off,
that's not a lot as well, considering that there's over 40 films? No, how many?
No,
over 40.
From the last 4 films, David. 1.7 billion from the last
4 films. Okay,
yeah.
okay.
Which
I thought that was all of those films combined. Okay.
No, because first we had Garth Evans' reboot in 2014 of Godzilla, which was generally well received, yet there were a lot of complaints there was not enough Godzilla in it.
Yeah.
Next we had our King Kong reboot with 2017 Skull Island, which with its 1970s...
Very good, it was amazing.
Yeah, with its 1970s setting and its all-star cast, because you forget Tom Hiddleston, Brie Larson, Samuel L. Jackson in it. It was a decent-sized hit and probably my favourite of these films so far. Then we had Godzilla King of the Monsters, which...
Where people were complaining that was too much Godzilla.
Yeah, too much monsters.
Yeah.
I think it lost something with the acting and the script a lot. And I know people don't generally tune into these films for that, but at least with Garth Evans' Godzilla, you have Bryan Cranston acting,
Yeah.
Wow, look at that. He's acting. And, that was straight after Breaking Bad he did that.
Yeah, and you
had a great
you
cast.
cared about what was happening with the human characters in Godzilla, whereas in Godzilla King of Monsters, honest to God, I can't even tell you what the humans were doing in that now. Oh, there was the mum that was like an eco-terrorist.
The eco-terrorist mum?
Yeah, I remember.
Terrible.
That made no sense. Yeah, definitely dumbed the script down. But go on.
But on the plus side, it did have decent monster big screen action.
Yeah, it had good monster. Yeah. 100%.
And that all leads us to Godzilla vs. Kong. So what I'm going to do now, David, is, as this is a full spoiler thing, I have prepared a little plot synopsis where we're going to go through every single beat. Well, I'm going to quickly go through every single beat of the story.
Right.
And then we're going to debate our favourite parts of the film.
Okay.
So...
All right, go on, go ahead. I'm going to chip in every now and then, but go on.
So the plot follows on from King of Monsters, and we start with Kong chilling out on Skull Island. Except we soon find out he's actually being kept prisoner there under the eye of Rebecca Hall's Dr. Eileen Andrews, who works for the clearly dodgy corporation Monarch. However, luckily for her, her adopted daughter Gia, who's with her and is deaf, she's able to calm Kong down and teach him a bit of sign language.
Wait, was she an adopted daughter?
Yeah.
Oh, I did not get that from the film. I thought they were just like...
There's a few things that you're going to go, oh, really? I did not know that when I read...
Did you know that watching the film, that she was an adopted daughter?
Yes, because I'm sure it's mentioned at one point.
Oh, okay. I just must have missed that completely. I just thought that she was just, chilling. They were good friends.
Chilling on the island.
Yeah.
But no, but when you see that she's communicating with Kong and calming down, I'm sure that's going to come in handy later. Next, we introduce our B story with Brian Terry Henry's Bernie Hayes, a conspiracy podcaster who's trying to expose Apex, yet another dodgy corporation. And his storyline then adds in Millie Bobby Brown's Madison Russell from the previous film with The Terrible Mother, and also adds in Hunt for the Wilder People's Julian Dennison, and they're just essentially there as the B-plot comic relief.
Yeah, well, they're kind of there for no bloody reason at all, aside from telling you what's going on with this, but there's no reason for them to be in the film.
Look, basically. They are there because whenever they're there because you can't have a 2-hour Monster Smash straight the way through. So basically, whenever we needed a break from Monster Smash action, we cut to these guys.
Yeah. I completely forgot about their storyline when we were in Hollow Earth. But anyway, sorry, we'll get to that later.
Yeah, well, that gets into the bad parenting aspect of the
Oh yeah, he was the worst dad ever. She's got the worst parents.
Yeah, I mean, well, one of them's dead and she was an eco-terror.
Yeah.
And well, that's what we'll just say as we're here. I mean, she goes and sees her dad at the start of the film. And he's like, no, go home. I don't believe you, even though you were totally right about everything in the last film.
Yeah.
And then they bump into each other in Hong Kong later on, and she's like, he's not like, yeah. Also early on,
I like that the film starts off with a podcast, by the way. Cheers.
Yeah, I mean,
cheers, Godzilla vs.
although not too sure how the representation of us is all crazy people. I mean, I don't think I'd go work in a top secret facility for 3 months just to get a story.
Yeah, you'd think, you know what? You'd think a top secret facility would have much better fucking security than this one did. It had the worst security.
Well, dude, they had Eleven from Stranger Things. She probably just went and they got it. But they probably couldn't put it in a film because of, being sued. Also early on, we meet Alexander Skarsgård's Dr. Nathan Lind. Did you know his character name? Because I sure as hell didn't remember it. But he's just essentially there to explain the science stuff in the film. Godzilla then attacks an Apex facility for reasons, and our team decide they need to get Kong and use him as bait to lead Godzilla to Antarctica, where they can access the Hollow Earth. Still with me?
I'm with you.
Right. Then we have our first big monster fight at sea.
So wait. Why do they need Kong to get to Hollow Earth?
Because they want to lead Godzilla to Hollow Earth because reasons. They don't explain it fully at this point. They just want to lead him there. And which makes me laugh. Their whole plan revolves on them getting to this Hollow Earth, yet that no one's ever been to and not even sure if it actually exists. But yeah, let's just take Kong there and hope it works out, But yeah, so we then have our first big monster fight at sea with Godzilla and Kong trading blows as they jump between aircraft carriers. And in the first fight, it's clearly Godzilla winning.
And our heroes... King Kong can't breathe underwater. That was basically what won that fight for him.
Yeah, and our heroes essentially have to play dead to escape and carry on to Antarctica. Yeah. So Godzilla won, Kong nil.
I'm Team Kong in this, by the way. Totally Team Kong. Yeah.
I don't think anyone's a fan of the big lizard. Well,
Natasha was King Lizard. No, Team Lizard, Team Godzilla.
King Lizard.
She was Team Godzilla.
Right. So at some point, we also introduced Demian Bichir's Walter Simmons, who's head of Evil Dodgy Corporation, and his hot daughter Maya, played by Isaiah Gonzalez. And we discover they are building Mechagodzilla, and that's totally not going to go wrong at all.
I don't know if this was intentional, but I loved the corporate video that's in the beginning of that film, and it's so fucking Skynet. Everything about it was Skynet. I don't know if that was intentional, but I appreciate it.
I'm sure.
It probably was.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Now, you had a problem with Hot Daughter. Why?
Hot Daughter? She was pretty pointless. She was just in it to be what's the word? A nice death. A satisfying death.
Yeah, well, that's a character arc.
Well, just to be a satisfying death. That was her character arc.
You always need someone who's slightly evil, doesn't really do anything, and gets eaten.
Yeah, that was basically all she was.
We then finally get to Hollow Earth.
Why was she even there? Was she just overseeing it, like being a representative from...
Yeah, she was representative from Evil Apex to go along with them on their trip to Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
So when we finally get to Hollow Earth, Kong finds a magic axe and has a little run around before happily sitting on his throne. Apex, because they're dicks, send a signal back that alerts Godzilla, and then we realise, that's why Godzilla attacked the facility at the start of the film, because the signal was summoning him to another Titan. So, of course, Godzilla now knows their location in the Hollow Earth. So, of course, Godzilla just fire breathes his way down through the Earth to Kong's throne room. They fight for a little bit. Evil Hot Girl gets eaten, and then they escape in their gravity ship, and then we're into Hong Kong.
where it's fight time.
It is round 2. Ding ding.
Let's
Kong
get
versus
ready
Godzilla.
to rumble!
So they fight to the surface and absolutely kick the living shit out of Hong Kong. And what happens? Godzilla kicks Kong's ass again.
No, wait,
But-
no, that's not true. Because
Dad!
Godzilla wins the fight when he has the axe. It's when he doesn't have the axe. And Godzilla
he
comes
hasn't
back. That's when he
he
loses.
hasn't. Yeah, but we haven't got to
Don't you
Mechagodzilla
remember
yet.
there was that whole line where it's like, I think that round went to God. No, I think that round went to Kong or whatever the
Yeah,
bloke said.
but he didn't have the. But he. It's not when until
they have,
Mechagodzilla comes on.
They have a fight and then they have another mini fight and then that's where Godzilla wins.
Oh, yeah, but
I'm
not
being
breaking it
very
into mini-fight.
pedantic about this, Neil. That's what happens. Godzilla, it's 1-1, and then it's
It's
2-1
not
to
1-1.
Godzilla. It is.
It's not 1-1 because the fight's still continuing. Well, we clearly disagree about the number of fights in the film. But anyway, they're fighting around, and you think he wins, I think Godzilla wins again. But then it doesn't really matter because Godzilla wins, and Kong's laying there pretty much on death's door. And wouldn't you know, that's when Mechagodzilla powers up, and Apex immediately lose control, with Mechagodzilla killing Apex Head and Walking Beer advert Walter Simmons straight away. Now, can you see where this is going? I can.
I think it's going to be a team up, Neil. I think
you think it's going to be a team up?
What we predicted. What do you reckon?
I think we did predict this several months ago on one of our earlier casts.
I think the world predicted it. But go on.
So now, Mechagodzilla is kicking regular Godzilla's ass because he's Mecha. Kong gets a nuclear-powered defibrillator to get his big ape heart pounding once more, and would you believe the hero of the film, I didn't realise this the first time, is actually Josh Valentine. David.
Josh Valentine?
Who? Who is Josh Valentine, you say?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
So that's Julian Dennison. So that's comic relief kid B. Do you know why he's a hero in the film?
Go on.
It's like the rat in Avengers, right? He's a hero of the film purely by accident because he spills a drink on Mechagodzilla's controls, which weren't even supposed to be working properly anyway at this moment, and that creates a few seconds of distraction for Godzilla to supercharge Kong's magic axe with his atomic fire breath, which allows Kong to defeat Mechagodzilla.
Yeah. Okay, and then that's the film, basically. That's pretty much where it ends.
Well, don't forget, after the carnage...
Like, do they have a little look at each other where they're like...
Yeah,
respect,
they give their respect bro glance, don't they? They're like, yeah, bro. They do the respect. I think they do the bit where he looks back. He's like, yeah, and like gives the head nod, doesn't he?
Yeah, respect, bro.
And after that, Kong's still in pretty bad shape. So Godzilla's like, I'm out and goes for a swim.
Yeah. There's no like alpha. So who's the alpha here? I don't fucking know. Godzilla, I guess.
It's Godzilla, totally, man. So we finish back in Hollow Earth where Kong's happy to just bomb around and be king of Hollow Earth because by the looks of things, there's literally no one else there. And Monarch, who apparently weren't as shady as Apex, have established an outpost. But, what can we say? Sequel, anyone?
Yeah, they're not going to end it there.
They're definitely not going to end it there because it's made way too much money.
Yeah. They're not. Yeah, no, they're not going to end it there. No chance.
So, on to our thoughts and notes from the film.
Okay,
For me, it...
Go on.
Go
you
ahead.
go first.
Right. So it does exactly what it says on the tin. Godzilla versus Kong multiple times in really well shot and edited set pieces where we can clearly see the action as they level Hong Kong.
Yeah.
Also, another...
It was, like you said, it was exactly what you knew it was going to be from the trailer. Literally, the trailer was basically the film, but, you got it stretched out over, an hour and 50 minutes? 2 hours? How long was it?
2 hours exactly, I believe the film
2
was.
hours. There you are.
Yeah.
It was the trailer, but imagine a 2 hour fucking film where it's monkey...
most films are around 2 hours.
Monkey lizard fighting action.
I think from the trailer, what we saw when we made our things, I was a bit worried about how bad the scripts... I thought the little girl was going to be terrible. I was like,
she was one of the best things, mate.
Yeah, she was the best. She was the best actor in the whole film. Her name is Kaylee Hottle, and she is actually born deaf, and she plays Gia, the young girl.
Really?
Yeah, and she comes from a family. She comes from a family that has deafness in 4 generations on it on one side.
Wow.
Apparently.
Okay.
According to the IMDb.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and I read a story that Alexander Skarsgård and a bunch of the other cast literally learned sign language so they could communicate with her on the film. So that's awesome, right there.
That's beautiful. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, she teaches Kong sign language, and that's brilliant. And she's the heart of the movie, really. In her debut as well. This is her first film.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, she was like, I know you said she was like, it's going to have an annoying little girl from the trailer.
Yeah, exactly.
But no,
and there's a magic
she's
axe.
Definitely one of the best things in it. She's 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 like half of the comedic relief as well.
Yeah,
with some of her like coward stuff like it's funny. I really enjoyed the film. I want to throw that out there. But if you think about it, there were so many things in it that just didn't make any sense, or that should have been really shit.
But you don't care.
But yeah, because it's just entertaining.
Yeah,
and I think there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with just being pure entertainment, pure spectacle, fun film, proper popcorn flick.
And I think by shaving half an hour off the runtime, because Godzilla King of Monsters was 2.5 hours, and even in this film, you can't just have it be 2 hours of Monster Smash. So they knew, okay, what are we going to do with the B story? So we're going to have Podcast Guy, 11, and Hunt for the Water People together. And even in those scenes where
he's just pointless, Podcast Guy.
He's Podcast Guy. Well, I remember that more than the character's name. So,
they were literally just going around being like, yeah, this company's evil. Oh, that's what they're doing. Oh, they've got a Mega Godzilla. Oh, okay, Mega Godzilla's out.
Oh, let's get in a container cart that's going to take us to Hong Kong. Oh, hi, Dad.
I forgot about that. Do you know when they got in that container car, they didn't go back to that again for another like 20 minutes. And when they went into Hollow Earth, I was like really into what was going on there. And then we cut back to them, and I'm like, oh yeah, I completely fucking forgot about this this story.
Oh, you need a little break from all the Hollow Earth. You need a little break from all the Hollow Earth goodness.
Which made no fucking sense. Let's face it. How is there daylight down there and vegetation?
Upside down mountains
and just everything, like the whole like Inception fucking up, like you look up as down and gravity twisting and whatever.
Well, I think you find, David, you can Google Hollow Earth, and there's a whole theory that has obviously been disproved, but people did think it was a real thing at one point, which led to the creation of some literature around the subject.
Okay, I did not know this.
Being a plot device in this film.
I did not know this. Okay, but that it didn't make.
Just don't go down a rabbit hole and become, don't become a Hollow Earther. That's all I'm saying.
No. Become a Hollow Earther. It didn't make much sense. Let's face it, but. You just kind of went with it. It was one of those films where you just went with it. Like, do you know how they went through that whole fucking wormhole thing to get to Hollow Earth?
With the upside down spaceships, yeah.
Yeah, with the upside down spaceships and all that jazz. When Godzilla blasted his way back down there, were you not just like, well, what, did he blast his way through the wormhole? Where the fuck's the wormhole gone?
Yeah. I didn't think that, to be fair, because I was enjoying it, and I turned my brain off.
It is one of those films where you do have to turn your brain off.
Here's a question for you: how much was Kyle Chandler paid for this film? He turns up at the start, tells his daughter to go home, and then he bumps into her in Hong Kong, and that's literally it.
And how much do you reckon he was paid?
Well, he was only in 2 scenes, man.
Someone's gonna have to find out.
Right, so I think that brings us close to the end of our thing. I just want to say that the film has been a massive success, despite the script and acting issues from the previous films. But I think what sets it apart is a shorter running time, and the director Adam Wingard of You're Next and The Guest. His choreography of some amazing action scenes in it, and I think probably the action scenes in this film are the best of all the films so far.
You didn't care about the human aspect of the story at all. They kind of took it away almost, the human aspect, because there was the whole thing like, oh, my brother died going to Hollow Earth, and that's why I want to figure it out, and then I don't want to do it. Oh wait, you figured it out? You've got this device, or you've got this vehicle. You've
just remembered more about the plot of the actor's storyline than I had from watching it.
You can remember this, like, you've got this vehicle that will not kill us going into it. Okay, cool.
Which we've never tried before, to a place we've never gone to before.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, we've got a gigantic ape coming with us.
Yeah, and then there was all this, like, the structures as well. Who built the fucking massive thing in Antarctica or wherever
do you know what the when I was doing a bit of research on it, apparently, and I didn't remember this being conveyed on screen, that the axe, right, he uses
atomic axe,
yeah, atomic axe.
There's a lot of atomic stuff in this film.
The axe head is apparently a fin from a ancient Godzilla beast.
Oh, was it really?
Well, that was never conveyed actually in the film.
No, it was not.
Was it?
There was a lot of stuff like that. There was a lot of atomic random, like when all the rocks floating in Hollow Earth atomic.
I honestly think you're putting too much thought into Hollow Earth.
Yeah,
and, like, the mechanics of it all.
I'm lost. I'm going down, like you said, I've gone down that rabbit hole.
I don't care why stuff's upside down. It doesn't matter.
There was
Monkey Smash.
Wait, they went down there for a power source, correct? They did. They went down there for a power source.
I thought they went down there to lead.
Was the axe the power source?
Yeah.
What was the power source?
The axe.
Was it the axe?
Yeah.
Okay, we're just going to go with the axe as a power source.
I'm assuming so. But anyway, like
power.
Axe.
I could go. You know what? I could go with that. Sure.
Yeah. So in terms of box office, though, where cinemas are open, Godzilla has been the biggest success of the COVID era, and it's actually made 357 million worldwide. And HBO Max has also confirmed it's their biggest ever debut in terms of viewership numbers. So, yes, that is including Justice League as well. Of course, we can't just take HBO's word for it, because as we know, there is no independent metric for measuring streaming successes at the minute, so we also have to take the studio's word to it. But do you know what? I think the reason this film has been a hit wherever it has, because we haven't had films like this in the last year. It's a blockbuster film. What we have had after last year, we've had some great films out, but we've had a lot of smaller, more indie films, and they've got
you've
the
had
spotlight
nothing that's
a lot
just
more.
been pure entertainment, have you?
Yeah, because all the blockbusters were delayed a year, weren't they? Almost every blockbuster film. This is the first one that's come out, and I think Warner Brothers' deal with HBO Max, it's looking a good fit. I think it's gonna, Wonder Woman 84, not so much. What was the other one that came out? Justice League.
Well, Justice
50-50
League
on that.
was basically just a re-release, wasn't it? But a director's cut. So even that you can't really say, like... Yeah.
Whereas this was an original, brand new film that was meant for the cinema, and it came out... I mean, bizarrely, a lot of the money... Well, not bizarrely, probably because bigger population, but it's made half of its money over from China. And, of course, Godzilla over in Asia, I imagine it's going to be a lot more popular than it is, especially with the big set pieces of the film taking place in Hong Kong. So, obviously, the film was going to be big in China. Yeah. And also, I'm probably sure it's got a fair bit of Chinese money behind it.
We were wrong about... sorry, you continue your thought process. No, I was just going to say, we were wrong about him using the Empire State Building as a weapon against Godzilla.
Well, yeah,
which I still think would have been awesome.
It would have been awesome, but
some sort of shield or something. Anyway,
they never made it to New York.
They never made it
Hong
to
Kong
New York.
got leveled.
They were in Hong Kong. They should... I still feel like it was a missed opportunity.
It also has a surprise of being a late franchise movie, so it's the fourth one in the series, yet it's the most critically and commercially successful of the franchise. So, obviously, it looks like they are going to continue the Monsterverse. I think what they're going to need to do, though, they're going to need to split Kong and Godzilla apart for a couple of films again before your inevitable team up again.
Yeah. Did you like that beginning of the film where they had like the tournament going on, where it was like Godzilla had beaten this monster, oh he's gone on to this round, and then like all the people, and they were building it up as like a tournament between the two. I thought that was so good at the beginning.
I mean, I'm hoping to see exactly the same thing in Mortal Kombat next month when that comes out.
Yes.
But they made so much last year of Tenet being the film to save cinema, and although the situation is looking more positive this year than last, Godzilla's taken more money at the box office than Tenet. And I think, do you know what though, as I said a little while ago, I think reviewers and general viewers have been a lot easier on this film's shortcomings just because we've missed a good old-fashioned Hollywood spectacle entertainment film in the last year. Like we said, yes, films have kept coming out, but our blockbusters have been delayed for over a year, and it's given space to these smaller films to make their name on streaming and VOD.
Yeah, but this film was basically good action, awesome fucking monster mash fighting, but poor plot, essentially. That was.
But do you know what? The poor plot. I think they got good actors in, and the actors know their roles very well. We're not here to take the focus off the film. We're not here to act. We're here to literally convey exposition to get us from scene A to scene B. Because you've got a really good cast in it, like Rebecca Hall, Alexander Skarsgård, but they don't really get a lot to do.
Yeah. Another thing I want to say: if you've got a trailer for anything. If you're going to do a trailer and you're going to have like Mechagodzilla or something that you don't want people to know about be the main villain, don't fucking show him in the trailer, even if it's just a small, tiny clip. Just ignore everything to do with it, so people don't know that's what's happening. Because there was only that one scene of Mechagodzilla going over like rushing people running away.
The problem is these days now, David.
And people were still like, there's fucking Mechagodzilla. Everyone fucking knew it. Just don't have it in the trailer. Just take it away.
Yeah, but we predicted that before. I predicted that before. I didn't really notice Mechagodzilla in the trailer because I wasn't stopping it and going through it frame by frame like people do, and like doing a full trailer breakdown.
Yeah, but then it's all of a sudden it's all over Twitter, it's everywhere, and you can't escape it. So then Mechagodzilla.
But you knew that was going to happen. I don't get why you're getting annoyed about it because we all clearly knew something like that was going to happen.
Yeah, we knew it was going to be some sort of team up, but we didn't know it was necessarily going to be Mechagodzilla. That's what I'm saying. So if that was a surprise, it would have been better. But because the internet ruins it because they've put it in the trailer.
But the internet didn't ruin it. The trailer ruined it.
Well, yeah, but
if you didn't want that shot
but the trailer
to be...
was only in it. It was only in it for a slight second. So the normal viewer would have seen that and not maybe thought anything of it.
Yeah, but film studios these days,
the internet's
no,
thing,
people... No, it's
gets blown
studio.
up.
If the studio didn't want it to be hinted at all, they wouldn't have put that shot in the trailer. Can't blame the internet. You got to blame the studio for the trailer.
Yeah, I get.
Because they know
they're just so
people are going to go
naive
through.
and still
people
don't
know.
get that.
No, people these days, whenever a big trailer for a big blockbuster comes out, people are going to go through it and analyze it frame by frame.
100%. Batman vs Superman did it with Doomsday. There was the shot of Batman just like.
I am not talking about that anymore.
Anyway, there was a shot of Batman just grappling away and being hit by laser beams, but the laser beams were like obviously not fucking Superman's. Like, you know.
Yeah, you read too much into. I don't care.
Anyway,
I just don't care.
Anyway,
do you know
it
what?
annoys me where that sort of such spoiled in the trailer. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I think from David moaning about split-second shots of things that ruin stuff that we already predicted was going to happen because we watched way too many of these films and we know what's going to happen
we
anyway.
knew there was going to be a team-up, but we didn't know it was Mega Godzilla. That's what I'm saying.
Oh,
The trailer ruined that. Right, well, yeah.
Well, that's all for this week's show. We're not 100% sure on what we're going to be discussing on the next pod, but when we do know, we're going to throw it up on our Twitter. And as always, let us know what you like or what you don't like about the show. I mean, David's jokes, for example. But if you do like us, please leave us a 5-star review on your podcast platform of choice. See you next time.
Did I even tell you about my dry skin problem? Neil? Neil, are you there?
Neil has left this call.
You dick.
We needed roads.